folks, welcome back to the channel. Really do appreciate you being here. If you are new here, hey, how you doing? My name's Chris and I'm building a business that suits my lifestyle, and welcome to my warehouse. We've been building this business for the last 5 years. This is year number 5 and it's been a journey to get here. Now, I know a lot of you have been following this journey since day one, but if you haven't, we started in the thrift shops, we started at home, we moved into a storage unit, then we had 5, and we've been in this warehouse for 90 days now. And to think that this is where anyone can get to. It doesn't, I'm not even talking about reselling, I'm not even talking about eBay, but in terms of you can start from zero, build something that you love and that you have a lot of joy and pride in doing, and create something absolutely beautiful. And that's the real purpose of these videos. My purpose number 1 is to document this for myself, to build a business that suits my lifestyle. So that's gonna look very different to maybe how you build your business, but that's really to keep me accountable. Number 2 reason of me doing these videos is really just a chance to try and give you inspiration, motivation, encouragement, and hopefully give you that sense of confidence that, hey, maybe you could do something that you've always wanted to do. It doesn't have to be related to eBay. It doesn't have to be related to reselling. Maybe you just have a goal. Maybe you do want to start a business. Maybe you just want to be, really skilled at something. Well, when you start from zero and you take all the steps and you be persistent, you put in the work, you be consistent as well, you can achieve some really great things. Now, this has not been easy and it still isn't, but it's definitely a wild and enjoyable ride, which I wouldn't change for the world. So that's the purpose of these videos. If you've got any questions along the way, please chuck them down below and I'll do my best to answer. I don't have all the answers, but if I've got an answer that I can give you, I will give it to you. And if I don't know, I'll hopefully be able to direct you to someone else. All right, it is Monday morning. We're back here again, the 5th of May. It is just after 7 a.m. Getting in early, and I actually was here on the weekend. If you guys remember, if you watched last week, at the end of last week, I had a whole bunch of stuff dropped off. Things were everywhere around here. I actually came in over the weekend and just got a little bit done because I just need to get on top of things, because by the end of this week, I'm actually going to Singapore. So I'll be away for a little bit, and I wanted to make sure just not leaving the place in chaos, even though it is pretty chaotic, but that's that. So what I did do is I went through and I processed all of this clothing that came through, and we got a whole bunch of skylanders that came through, a whole bunch of Lego, a whole bunch of lots of different things. Actually, I've got to continue to sort that today. But really my priority for this week is 1, make sure everything is ready, done and dusted before I go away. I'm still going to have the team working, but I just won't be here. So there's a few things we've got to do to get that all set up, just making sure that things are in play. We do have a washing drop-off coming back today, and I'll be sending out more washing today. That's going to happen in about 2 hours. I do need to finish a couple more listings. I've got a little bit of admin I've got to do this morning, but most of all, Monday mornings is all about pick, pack, and post. We've actually had a very, very rewarding weekend. Not huge volume, but we have had some pretty good consistency when it comes to higher ASP. So we've got about 50 orders to go out, sitting on 49. It's probably actually about 56 items, and we're back on 90,479. So it was a very rewarding weekend. I'm not going to complain about that, that's for sure. And I'm looking forward to finishing this week strong. The whole idea of I've just been pushing extra hard for the last week to get into May is because I'm going to be away. I want to make sure that we're trying to get ahead to make that revenue and stuff coming through, because I'm not going to be here to do as much as normal. I also did clean up all this section over here over the weekend as well. So lots has been happening. I'm just going to get set up, turn on the lights, get things charging for the photographer, and then I'll probably bring you along for the ride. I believe I do have, we'll see, have some of the e-waste getting picked up today. I know I've got the tubs getting picked up. That might have to be switched over and all that. So lots of things happening, and anyway, I'm going to get settled in and then we'll get cracking. All right, one of those mornings. It's just admins to do. I've just picked up returns on the way here from the post office box, and there was about, it's actually quite a lot for one person had purchased like 15 items and they sent back 5. And then one other person had 1. And then the other thing I've been doing is, I spoke about this last week, one thing that I'm finding, and it's probably because we've had time off, and I don't know, I've got to chat to the staff about it because we've slipped up on a lot. There's a whole list of things, of missed measurements, missed, you know, just not following the sequence of events. And not to be a hardballer, but the reality is like we have a process for a process, right? You follow the process for a reason, because it ensures that we get all the ticks on the box, right? In terms of make sure you capture this, capture this, capture this, capture this. And whether they've been distracted or just out of routine, or I don't know, but there's a good, 16 items that we have to go through and just redo, which is obviously cost me money, but it's frustrating because it is what it is. So just I got to pull all those out as well, and those were the ones from like that would have been happened over like 45, 50 days. This is just in the last week, so it's really bad. I got to really have a conversation and just see what's going on there, because we can't have that happening, because it just creates waste of time and extra work. That's done. I'm going to start doing the picking process. This week my time is obviously a bit short, so I'm probably not going to be, filming long. When I say filming long, this will probably still be a long video, but I'm not going to necessarily film heaps of while I'm going here. I'll probably just go through, get all this out. I'll show you a few cool things when I'm packing. I want to get, basically bang, 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 because I want to get through all this today. I want to process a whole bunch of other stuff that's been piling up for this week, just get as many backlog listings as possible for when I'm away. So I'm going to get cracking into it. I've got to put all this away as well, and then get this day started, eh? It's never a dull day. All right, team, I've pulled out all the packages now, and there's some interesting things that we've actually sold. So a lot of bread and butter, usual stuff, a few multi-quantity, actually someone just purchased a whole bunch of Harley. We've got lots of Tommy going out, Ralph, all the usual stuff. The interesting things that have gone out is this camera battery base. That went for parts. Nothing crazy, but like just, again, this is going more than some of the clothing I'm selling. So that's why it's just great to be able to sell. 2 PlayStation 5 controllers, parts only. They are working, but they need repair. And these ones are gone for like 71 bucks. These 2 modems. Now this was a surprise, and I was chatting to my laptop guy, and I was telling him about that, how apparently they sell, and I said to him it'd be interesting. Someone's come through and purchased both of them. They gave me 50% off for them, and the purchase of 2, which I'm happy with, because it's cheap, it's free. Like, we didn't have to pay for it. It goes through the consignment, and it's just revenue on top, and they'll be happy, we'll be happy. So if I get more of them, I'm selling more of them. Graphics card is going out. This one's gone for about $36. Again, parts only, not working. Bob the Builder, we've got little Matchbox car, that's cool. Another bundle of Apple stuff going out to regular customer, and then we did sell one of the Technics. This is the 5-disc, the 5-disc player, so that's pretty cool as well. That one for 170, I think. That sold within 24 hours as well, so very grateful for that. Lots of interesting things, and that's what I love about the eBay. So we've learned a lot of extra things from just some of those different things. I mean, these have come from the ewaste, that's come from the ewaste, that's come from the ewaste, that's come from the ewaste. So it's really starting to become more of a common thing, and that's all come from the ewaste. These ones were consignment though. That's also a different person, and this one came from the big clothing lot that I got. Actually, that was a extra add-in. So right, I'm going to get packing on all of this, and the washing's about to arrive, so I'll probably start that in about 10 minutes as well. So okay, team, all the washing is back. There we go. So that'll have to all get flat laid out. While I was waiting for the washing, I was already starting to sort these Skylanders, because just didn't want to get into a groove with the it's pretty cool, with the postage while I was going to have to get interrupted. So I'm actually just going to finish this right now. We've been putting them into the blues, into the oranges, into the greens, into the non-coloured red, and then we've got all the different or alternatives, or there's a couple of Amiibos in here, and then these are the really good ones, so should be some really good money in here. I know Octo is a big fan of all this, so I'm just finishing up this, not much more to go, and then we'll do the postage. Okay folks, good news, postage is all done, all of that, and those 2 bags there, really happy with that. A couple of things now that I'm going to do. I'm going to have some lunch actually, but I've got a whole bunch of overalls in there that I need to sort. We've got a lot of this stuff already in bags. As you can see, we're getting through this pretty well. But I want to do that today. I've got looks like I may have it's all happening in fluid. So by the time you see this, I might have a yes or no answer. Looks like I might have sold all of this. So I've got to work on that today and tomorrow as well. Got to continue putting all the washing bags. Flat lay, we've got to finish doing these today. That's what I really want to get done. And then there's some multi-SKU items we can do here as well. We've got a whole bunch of toners, I believe they are. We've got some boots, we've got a Blu-ray player. We've got a whole bunch of stuff in here that we got over the weekend as well. So just really working my way through that. And then we had a whole bunch of other goodies over here as well come through. So just trying to get the quick wins done. But first, lunch. All right, team, just making up these wholesale lots, just gone through, counted them all, weighed them all. Now just got to make out an invoice and see how much it's all going to cost, because it's a fair bit there. But good deal for the individual if they go through with it, so thank you. All right, good news, that is all sold. We have done the deal, it's all packed up and it will go out today. I'm going to start doing these Skylander things, so starting with those, and then we'll move on to the rest of these. Probably I've got to go through quickly, just check, make sure there's no big bangers in this. Some of them I've already put over there, but otherwise they're just going to go out in different lots in terms of the different types. Got to make sure they're not damaged as well, and then we'll probably move on to other quick wins as well. I'm going to do those too. So I'm going to get cracking on this. Yeah, I do apologise if anyone was reaching out for last week. If you reached out for the wholesale, it was already gone by the time the video came out. But anyway, that's the way it works. All right, let's do this. All right, team, it's all been happening. Some good news is I had the two big bins were picked up. I had more e-waste dropped off. Got a little gnarly there because the walkie stacker almost died. Anyway, we got it all done. I didn't get to document it. It was a bit crazy. I've got to go now. It's 10 to 5. So I've got to quickly pack the van with that. And I can't go out that way because walkie stacker is dead. So I've got to go quickly pack it in the other way and then get out of here. So that's it for me, folks. We'll be back here tomorrow nice and early, doing it all again. And I'll give you an update on how things are. Ciao. And just like that, it was Tuesday. Here we are again. Geez, so last night it was all a bit chaotic. As I said, I had the e-waste folks rock up and we were switching out the the bins. And so I've got, oh, you're kidding. I think they switched out the wrong bins. That's funny. That's funny. They grabbed the wrong bins. Anyway, that's a conversation for a different day. We did the bins, and then what we had to do is we had to consolidate 2 pallets into 1 pallet, just because we didn't have the space. And while we were doing that, the walkie stacker was running pretty low, so we managed to finally get it packed and stacked. That was all good. And then it was literally flashing, and it kept, kind of like, it was losing a lot of power. So I brought it in and I had to manually shuffle a few things in here, so it was a bit of a chaotic kind of mess at that point in time. It was all good, everything's fine. It was just, you don't want the walkie stacker to lose its battery when it's out in the middle of nowhere, because you can't move it. So anyway, that's all good. That's been charging overnight, so that'll be all fine. This morning, I'm going to focus on, getting all this e-waste sorted and all that jazz. I am going to probably do an episode of Get Wired, just sit down for an hour or 30 minutes and just do another, with me session, work with me session. I actually just nicked around the corner. There's a new cafe that's opened up. They'll do a free coffee with any purchase, so I got it for $2.50 and got myself a cheeky little hash brown. Just thought I'd suss out what their coffee's like. So yeah, but the plan today otherwise is it's just me here today. I've got to just continue to get through as much stuff as possible before I go away. I'm going to have to contact them about the bin. I think they've totally made a big mistake there. It might have actually been my own fault because I didn't shuffle the bins properly, but just picked up the wrong one. That's funny. It was all a bit of a rush situation because they had to go take it to drop it off somewhere. Anyway, I can. If you can't see it, I am thinking from my head, how are we going to solve for that? But anyway, it is all part of it. All right, so I'm just gonna get settled in quickly. I also need to finish my listings this morning, but really today the focus is, yeah, just get as much listings. I'll do the e-waste. There's probably some high value ASP items in that one as well, which means I should be able to continue to keep the sales happening while we're away. And the other thing is, I have a couple of questions that I'm gonna answer today. And there was one more thing that I wanted to make mention of. Oh yeah, so the other thing is I've got to go drop off a whole bunch of clothing to the rag house, just stuff that it's not worth taking to the op shop, not worth selling, and we'll get that dropped off as well. So busy day, busy morning. I've got to pick Carla up early today. It's already 7 o'clock here, but like it's 7 o'clock this morning, but I'll be picking Carla up probably maybe around 4:30, and then she's coming back here to do a meeting that she has for work, just so she's back, you know, before it gets busy peak hour, and then we'll wrap up here around 6 o'clock. So busy day. I'm going to get into it, and I'll bring you along for the ride. All right, crisis is all handled. He's going to come back. He also realized he just hadn't called me yet, so we'll do a switcheroo today. Not a big problem. You know, this is one thing that I'm probably actually going to talk about in my Get Wired the podcast. Basically that little segments of 1 hour, half an hour of work with me, that's what I've called it, Get Wired. And it's something that I'm going to talk about around continuous improvement. And this is why it's so important, is when you start something, and it comes on from the first episode that we spoke about, where you know, you just got to start, you got to figure it out, you got to go with the flow, you got to learn what's the ups and downs. And just like this, one thing that I like about learning this whole process of doing the managed service of the e-waste is you're going to have bumps in the road. And that's why it's okay, because at the start, that's normal, right? And at the start, you want to have all those bumps come through to work out, how do we make this process better? How do we avoid this going forward? How do we continue to make this a better process and experience for everyone as part of that journey? And, you know, mistakes are so important to be made to ensure that we do become successful. But if you think you're going to be perfect from day one, it's just not possible, right? So you have to be willing to make those mistakes. Now, I'm not saying go out with the intention to fail. Well, one, it's not even failing, but go out there with the intention to continuously learn, to continuously improve, and you can go through the process of understanding, okay, this worked, what didn't work, what do we need to do better? Okay, so the next time we'll do it this way. Does it get us a better result? Sweet. So anyway, I won't talk about it here. We'll talk about it when we do the Get Wide podcast, but I'm going to go film an episode now. It'll probably be 30 minutes to an hour, just a work with me session. And yeah, let's get that happening before the rest of the day gets into flow. And yeah, I'll see you over there, and then I'll be back here in a minute and we'll be doing something else. Ciao. All right, just been on the phone with my mate Cameron, just catching up. We chatted for a good 30 minutes. While I've been doing that, I've actually pulled out all the postage. I got my packaging, my next quarter of packaging come through. So I pulled all that out. There's some more in the office. That's going to go up there later today as well. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start working through this e-waste. I'm going to start weighing it. If you guys are new here, we have to process it in a certain particular way, and I'm also going to talk about the consignment situation, how that works. And then once I've done that, I've actually got to do the drop off of the rags. So then I'm going to nick out, do that, come back, and we can just focus being here for the rest of the day. So that's me. The question about the how I do my consignments, this came through from, I think it was it Russell? I do apologize, I don't have it in front of me. And the way the consignment works, and I'll put this up on screen, but essentially, I mean, consignment, whether it's through a business or an individual, it works exactly the same. The only difference is with the e-waste, and the only reason it's changed now is because it's a managed service, is essentially what happens is I'm getting the stock, I'm processing the stock, identifying for them what is worth selling versus not worth selling. They decide, okay, let's sell it, or no, that we're going to go through our normal channels of recycling or gold recovery or whatever it may be. Different things have different lines of how that's handled. But essentially then, all I'm doing is I'm selling it, and then after postage and after fees, let's say we have a profit of $100, they take $50, I take $50. That covers me for my time and effort, and then they get the money as well. So that's essentially how we do it. The only difference for when I'm doing it for like private individuals, like collections, is I go through and actually kind of say, hey, look, this is what I think it's worth. I think this is how much we can get for it. This is how much it will cost. You know, if we sell every item on average, this is the amount of fees expected, 15%. This is how much average post is. After that, this is expected to be the profit. This is where we're going to aim for. And then after that, anytime we sell something, I would take a percentage, which is usually 50%. And then sometimes I'll even offer to just buy everything at a lower price at 25%, because usually they get about 35% if we wait for everything to sell, or I can just give them 25% now. So that's kind of how that plays out, really. And the other thing to think about there is I send this on a monthly basis. Like I send a report through what sold. We do reporting on all that, the ASPs, the quantity, average fee price, all these different things. It's really simple in that sense, now that I've got a bit of a process to it, but the managed service one's a little different because I'm actually managing the service for them. Like it comes here, I sort it, I prep it, I do all that, where previously they would just give me items, I would sell it, and then la-da-da-da-da. So it's a little bit different to a standard consignment model, but you can see up on screen of what that calculator looks like and all that jazz. But great question. And this has been a game changer for our business. And again, it comes back to me talking about what value am I adding for these guys, what problem am I solving for them? And at this point, it's time, money, and just being resourceful with what they do with their stuff. And it's a solution that helps elevate their business, gives them more money, saves them time. Everyone's happy. All right, I'm going to get working. Again, continuous improvement. So I've set up a little bit more of an edging system here so that we've got things can't roll off. This is not the way it's going to be long term, but really just testing out a few different ways. And then we've got the sorting bins here. I'll put everything there, sort it, goes into here, and then it goes back into the boxes. This is the process. So I'm going to put a whole bunch out there and we'll see what we've got in the first bin and then get started on it. All right, this is the first lot. Lots of cables, obviously. Looks like there's a fair bit of iPhones and things in this as well, which is pretty good. Got phones already. Anything not worth it just goes straight back into the box it came from and is reweighed at the end. Interesting. AirPods. Interesting. Some more AirPods. Jeez, more AirPods. That's weird. Got a cable. A Dyson. Now this is something new for me. I haven't obviously tested a lot of this kind of stuff before, never done it. So I don't know if I'm sleeping on something here. Something I'm definitely gonna have to research if doing the vacuum. I know there is money in them, but you gotta have the parts and you gotta know how to process the parts. Like we get a lot of these batteries, but I don't think they're reusable. So I don't know. I've got to do a bit of research. And that's the thing, like a lot of this, I don't know. It's literally just the blind leading the blind. There's obviously a lot of components in here which I do know about, but there's a lot that I don't, so. Interesting. Alright, so it wasn't crazy amounts in there, but we did get some AirPods, we got some iPhones, and lots of cable, which obviously I'm going to take. We've got some chargers. Is that brass? So, not too bad. Right, I'm going to quickly switch all this out, and I'll get the next bin on here. Next lot has some interesting things in it, like really interesting. Nothing crazy, but just. I mean, there's an old Kodak bag that I think I saw. Some Wii stuff. Jesus, a lot of interesting things in here.
which is a lot of crap, but that's why we're sorting it. That is why we're sorting it. This stuff, I mean, this isn't worth anything. Interesting. Some of this is just like a learning process as well, like, you know, because every time you really don't know what you're going to get. Did you hit a cheese? That's cool. It's just cool to see so much different things, and it's just such a great way to learn. But then there's a lot of crap in this as well. Oh, that's like a... I'm pretty sure that's for your cable management, actually. All right, let's see what I can get out of all this. All right, not much in that one, just cables, but that's box number 2 of like 15. I'm just gonna pause here. I've got to go drop off the rag stuff now that they're open. I just want to get that done so I can come back here. I'm gonna go do that. I've got to pack the car, probably take 10 minutes, and then I'll be back here and we do it all again. And done. All right, I'm back. So that only took me, actually, it's only 9:46 now, so it took me about 25 minutes. I'm going to continue through all this. I'm actually just going to smash it all out myself. If I see something crazy while I'm doing it, I'm going to show you guys. Otherwise, I'm just going to show the aftermath. The reason why is because I've just got lots I need to get done. And I also need to think, I want to get this video also done before I leave, which means the smaller the video, the easier it is going to be for me. The other thing that actually has to happen, and I'm probably going to do this tomorrow, is I need to bag up all of these jeans because they're going to the wash on Thursday. So that's one more thing that I've got to do. I have already sorted them all. They're just literally just got to go into the color code. So that will be easy done as well, but that's probably going to be a tomorrow job. As you can see, we're pretty chockers again. We've still got heaps of these. This was all done yesterday. Lots of, look at these, all these. This stuff is incredible. So all of this was done yesterday. Very, very happy with it all. Hopefully some higher ASP stuff. All right, I'm gonna get into this and I'll show you the end result. Just gotta keep moving, but lots of things happening. Let's do it. All right, team, it's now 10:30. We're almost at the end of it. We've got a big stack there, which I still got to sort, but there's a whole bunch of computers. There's some graphics cards. So there's this bundle here, and then there's another whole box that I've got to go through as well. So I'm gonna suss them out, see what's what, and there's also some really big screens, which might actually be okay, and I've got screen things there. So I'm gonna see what we can do with all this. I'm gonna part it out and see what we get out of it. Looks like they've already taken the CPU, which is a bit of a disappointment, but who knows, maybe we'll get lucky. I'm gonna part it out anyway, see what we can do. All right, so this is where we've kind of ended up. We've got a whole bunch of iPhones. There is a MacBook in there. There is one little laptop. I don't think it's going to be anything special. We did get some blank media. These will go pretty well. Nothing crazy. When I say pretty well, just they sell pretty quick. We did get an old iPod. It's pretty beat up. It needs to be cleaned. I think altogether here, there's probably $500 worth with the phones, with that MacBook. There's a really new iPad. These guys, I've got to test. These ones actually may be pretty good. They were returned by the looks of it. And got a couple of Wii remotes and another pair of iPods. So pretty happy with this. Now, the rest of it's still in here, which I'm just going through. I was just pulling out the quick wins. Excuse me. Now I'm going to do these. I was looking at one of these. These things could be worth a fair bit, but obviously we can't sell it like that, so got to remove all data and all that stuff, but might be able to just part it out and sell it as parts. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. I've just made a little bit of space to do that and charge on. I'll show you what we end up with once I've pulled it all apart. I don't know, this actually may have been one of the coolest things to do. Even better than the video games that we found. So we have found heaps. We got a lot of i7s, they're all i7s. We've got some really good RAM. We're talking about DDR4 16 gigabyte. There's probably about, with all that one under there, and there, there's probably about, yeah, there's probably close to about 128 gigs worth of RAM. I don't know what the value of it is. I haven't looked it up yet, but should be pretty good. i7 motherboard. This little guy's pretty cute as well. He's not an i7, he's an i3. We did get a graphics card, and then we've got more. Because there was another box, I didn't realize. We've got this one. This is from the server unit with more RAM, i7, and these are all i7 boards and another graphics card. So we're going to get these listed today as parts, untested from a decommissioned unit. They should sell pretty well, pretty quick. I'm happy with this. All right, we've got to clean up all of this now. I'm going to get that done, and then it'll be lunchtime, and then we do a pick and pack, and then we see what happens in the afternoon. I'm happy. This is great. Like, it's so much. It did take a little bit longer than I expected, but if I can get all this sorted, when the guy comes to drop off the bin, he can take it all back. We've already processed it all, and there's probably, I reckon there's probably another $1,000. So it's definitely worth it. It gets better. So one of the boxes had just like all the monitor arms in it, and I thought it was just monitor arms. Anyway, I figured I better check, and lo and behold, there's another one. Woo! And just like that, we were all done. That's all now put on the walkie stacker, ready to be collected. Maybe today, actually. So all done. I'm very proud with that. So it is 12:30 now. So I think we got really into that at about 10 o'clock, was it? 10:30? I don't know. It's really probably taken about 2.5 hours to weigh it all, process it all, sort it all, put it back together, weigh it all. It's been pretty good. 2.5 hours, and I reckon, yeah, there's probably $1,200 plus. I'm being a bit conservative. Some of these things, like, unfortunately, I think this one is broken, and I think that's why they've had to disassemble it, but I'm going to test it. Some of these boards were selling for $400 pre-owned, but we'll see. We'll give it a go. I'm going to have some lunch now. We'll do a pick, pack, and post, and then we'll do some photos. I'll put some phones on charge, have that all happening, and today is probably going to be one of those win of a days. Still need to put all this stuff away, but I'm going to wait and hear back from my guy to see if they are going to be picking up, because I do still need to clean up a little bit of mess in here. Anyway, let's have some lunch. All right, it's time to do some postage. We've got all of this going out over here and down there. Not many non-clothing items. We did get a whole bunch of Lego from consignment going out. The rest is, yeah, really just lots of shirts, sweaters, pants. There was a skirt, there's some jackets, some fleece, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we've got a total of, must be 22 items going out, I believe, and we are on 91,000 actually. We're back up there, so we're making our way back slowly but surely. So I'm going to get packing on this, and then we can get into doing some listings. Woohoo! Postage is all done for now. Now we're going to move on to the good stuff. All right, so we've got all these iPads to do. I've got to check that they're finished charging and all that. While they're still charging, I'll get into all of this. Again, this stuff's going to be sold as parts only, untested, so we'll probably lose a lot of money on it, but it's funny because we haven't had any of this stuff ever, and then in the last week we've had it twice. So that's really just saying, hey, no, send me everything. Like they hadn't been sent. Apparently they hadn't been sending it because they didn't think I was processing it, and I said, no, send it. So hopefully there's more opportunity of that. Because yeah, otherwise we're sleeping on stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna get cracking on this. A whole bunch of fun. I just love this stuff, like, just because it's learning, and then if we can get all this done, we'll move on down the line. What a day. I'm very grateful. All right, let's get cracking. All right, finished all the CPUs and also finished all the other computer bits and bobs. The hard drives over here we don't do, obviously, but the fans is probably actually going to go to scrap. These are worth a bit if we can get them formatted, so I'm basically just holding on to them. I do have a guy that does them for me, but he's just currently doing some stuff, moving and whatnot, so maybe I'll just hold on to him till he's done. But nice. All right, we are getting closer to the end of the day. The good news is we've actually got a lot of this done. Like, I'm just waiting for the last iPad to finish charging, and then all the electronics have been done, like the quick win electronics. The stuff that's left over is, we've still got a couple of smaller phones in here, which basically just go into kilo lots, so I'm not going to get them listed. These we kind of wait till we have a bit more as well. This one I actually need to send to my mate and see if he's interested in it. It's probably not going to be worth it. There is a Mac here, which I'm going to do quickly now as well. And then all the remotes and stuff, they all just go into bundles. So like, there's no quick action on them at this point in time. But you know, it may feel like we haven't done a lot of listings, but by the time we finish, we're probably sitting on about, should get to about 30 or so. But the ASP on these will be a lot higher. So I think once it rounds out, probably $80. So I'm pretty happy with that, actually. That's, after doing some of the research, I think that's where we're going to land. So very happy with that. There is the AirPod situation as well, which I'm just kind of going to look up of how to reset those and test them properly. There is the Blu-ray player as well, which we can test. Other than that, like, there's a couple of other things that we got that we'll take a gamble on and give a bit of a try, which is the stuff in here. These boxes obviously sell. I sold the 2 last time, and there's a few other bits and bobs in there, but they're kind of like testing stuff. Sorry, like they're trial products or just not quick wins. So I'm trying to get these done because my guy will probably buy them tomorrow, which means I can send them out before we go away. There is actually this all-in-one computer as well, which I've got to test too. So not bad at all. I'm just waiting for the bin about to be dropped off and picked up, and then I've got to go grab Carla, come back here, she'll have a meeting, and then we'll be wrapping up for the day. So it's all going to be a bit tighty because he's going to get her at 4:30. I've got to pick her up at 4:50. Yeah, it's all a bit, anyway, it is what it is. All right, I'll give you an update soon. All right, team, I'm back. We've got the new empty bin and the crate's gone. Well, not the crate, the pallet has gone. So that was a quick turnaround. Very happy with that. This thing has been probably the best investment. Just be able to just smashing those things around really quickly. Very grateful for being able to do that and turn around. So that's good. That just means there's no clutter here while I'm away. I've still got to do a little bit of a cleanup in here, but nothing too crazy. So I'm actually just going to do a little bit of admin now. Carla's in her meeting. But I'm just going to do a bit of admin, finish off some listings, and tomorrow I think the plan is probably continue to clean up this a little bit. I need to get the rest of the packaging up there and just shuffle those things a bit, and I might even get that down for my computer guy if he's free. Maybe he can come round and have a sticky beak. He wanted to get check a couple more things in there. We'll see how we go. Yep. Actually, maybe I'm going to open up this one while I wait, because I can't get it to power on, so maybe I'll just take the parts out of it. Maybe I'll do that. Okay, did manage to get a little bit of RAM out of there, and I got a few other bits and bobs which we'll try and sell. Why not? Give it a go. At this point, it's all just learning. So I'm done now. Tomorrow's plan, as I was saying, was I need to continue to do the stuff up there, just shuffle things, want to clean things up before I go, and just stay on top of things. Yeah, probably do a little bit of cleanup here, but really just want to continue on with this stuff. That's it. I'm not at Backpacks tomorrow. I've decided not to go just so I can make sure I've got everything on top. I'm just on top of everything before I go, in case there's any last minute things need to get done. Just so giving myself the space before we leave to travel. So that's really the plan there, and we've got all this to do still, so plenty of things to be done. And yeah. Anyway, now I'm going to do some admins, so I will see you tomorrow. We'll be back at it again. Yeah, what a day. It's pretty crazy, like, to think that we had all that stuff come in, process. I know I said it before, but I'm really just really happy with that. It's really good. All right, ciao. And just like that, it was Wednesday. All right, it's 8:13 in the morning. Just got here, dropped the post off this morning on the way in. All right, so big plans today. As I was saying yesterday, we're going to do a little bit of shuffling of getting supplies back up there. I want to do a bit of a cleanup here as well, just so things aren't in a mess for when I get back. I also need to pack all the bags for the Levi's, and I need to send my washing lady a message of how many bags it is to make sure she can take them all. If not, that's okay. That's the main priority, and then after that, obviously we've got to pick, pack, and post. And it's just really continuing on with the stuff here, which we keep delaying and getting distracted by. So that's that. I'll probably do a bit of a clean up here. Oh, that fell over last night. That's interesting. wonder how that falls over when there's no movement in the... Anyway, it doesn't matter, that's all scrap, so... Interesting. Interesting to see that fall over. It would have been on camera. Hope there's nothing in here, like a rat or anything. That'll be interesting. I'm going to look that up on the camera. So yeah, that's what we're going to get into. Sales were pretty bad yesterday, actually, all things considered. You know, because yesterday we got back up to 91 and then we've dropped back down to 89 this morning. So we've actually only got 7 items to go out, which, yeah, it's a bit annoying. But, you know, we charge on. Hopefully we'll get all of those electronics that we did yesterday. We'll get all them listed today. We might even sell some of those today. And because John, my lister, will do them today. So that's that. And yeah, so lots of things happening. I'm going to get cracking on it. And yeah, I actually need to get some more pallets. I need to find some more pallets, go for a bit of a drive a bit later. I've got to pick up some lunch as well. So lots of things happening. Let's get into it. I'm going to go check on the camera and see what happened. Very interesting. All right, let's do it. So I just had a look on the video camera, and this is really weird. So like, I got here literally about, what, 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, and this apparently fell 10 minutes before I arrived. No reason, it just must have been so close to falling. The only thing I can think of is maybe someone's closed a door and it's just banged and it just, anyway, just weird, but worth checking because it's a bit weird. All right, let's get into it. I do have one of my photographers in today, which is good because I want to keep things happening and moving. And excuse me, a bit croaky. And they'll be focusing on just continuing to get as much done before I, well, sorry, not about continuing to get much done before I go away, but really just continue to work through that backlog. So that's the plan there. I actually need to make some phone calls today, a little bit of admin. So I'm not going to backpacks today. I just decided that with, you know, all the things that I need to get done, it's just not worth stressing just so I can get ahead. And, you know, I don't really want to be stressing over the next couple of days. Not that there's anything that's super crazy to think about. It's just that I'd rather give myself extra time, and then I've got more time on my hands. I still have to pack and everything, so I don't really want to be just doing things at the last minute. So that's really where my headspace is at with going away. There is some questions that I'm going to answer today as well, so we'll get to all that. Yeah, let's get cracking. All right, team, it's all cleaned up now. A bit more space, which is great. I will be doing a rubbish drop off today as well, like with the cardboard and whatnot. I'll do that around lunchtime. Let's just move to the side for now. I do need to get down something from over there. As I was saying, I didn't have to actually get up to the top. I've just put the packaging, I've just kept it down below actually. But I am going to get that tub of laptops out, and hopefully I've got someone to come look at them today as well. So that's all good. The other good news was we forgot to charge the phone, so I've had my photographer helping do all the Levi's. They're all done in 9 bags, which is pretty good actually. So I can still send one more bag actually. I might see if I can do a few more bags. The washing lady said I just got to text her in advance, so I might make up some more of the jackets or some puffers. And yeah, happy days. Good progress. And then I did the e-waste calculations as well, which I'm going to take you guys through to help you have a better understanding of what that looks like. All right, so for the e-waste, what we did was that all that pallet that came in the other day, that was a total of 246 kilos, 0.95. So let's just say 250 kilos. We've processed it. We've kept 86 kilos of that, and 160 kilos has gone back, and that goes through the next stage of the process. Now, of that, what we were able to do yesterday, from all of that, we have already done 32 direct listings. There's probably going to be about 40. There's a few more bits and bobs that I have to take from that. And I think the ASP on that 32 will probably be close to $80. So 32 times 80, that should generate around $2,500. So when you look at it from that perspective, the revenue on that, so if we say 2,500, it's interesting because we had 250 kilos come in, and that will generate 2,500, but we didn't actually do all that. We only kept the 86, so it's actually 2,500 divided by the 86 kilos. It's probably about $29 a kilo is what we're essentially being able to then resell it as, which is quite interesting. And what's interesting is in that 86 kilos, that actually includes the wire. I get to keep the wire, and I'm not selling that through eBay. That goes through scrap, but that's going to be a passive thing. So really, it's probably actually less than that. One thing that I'm going to have to now change in the process, again, coming back to a continuous improvement, is actually now weighing the wire that I get and separating it out of these lots, so I can have a better understanding of how much weight there actually is in the wire versus the non-wire stuff. So I can probably do that. I can probably actually check that today and just do a quick clarification of difference. But yeah, it's definitely interesting because it's probably actually, the wire is actually probably the heavier part. Let's say there's 20 kilos of wire. So it's probably actually, let's just say it's 60 kilos of other stuff. Actually, it's probably not even, it's probably actually only, I'm gonna have to validate this today. Let's say it's 30 kilos of stuff. We're actually doing about $80 a kilo, which is pretty good. So happy with this. More on this to come back, but I've got to get this right and get this accurate to be able to play it back as a reporting mechanism for the value generation that we're creating. So very exciting. All right, so I just did the weight, and of the actual stuff that we're keeping that we can sell and not scrap or wire, which is the stuff I don't have to pass through. It was 33.5 minus, there's 1, 2, 3, 3 point, this one, minus about 1.6 kilos in box weight. So it's really actually about 31.9 kilos of actual resellable stuff, which is even better because it means that for the 86 kilos that we kept, it's actually only 31.9 kilos of high value ASP, which means for the 2,500, we're basically getting about $78 a kilo. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's actually really good. That's interesting. So I'm gonna have to monitor this even closer going forward. Sweet. Yeah, just all part of the process, and then we'll have this done in a certain way. We'll process it, the heck out of it, make sure it's done a certain way. It's really good. Oh, I'm loving it. It's a really good morning, actually. Real productive, getting things done. That's what we want, right? And I'm motivated because I want things working smoothly, and seeing this helps me see the potential that we can do. So how do we get more of it? That is the big question. Alright folks, we're going to do a pick and pack, but first there was a question that came from Tammy last week around my observation during the pick in my video that I didn't appear to walk down the first row. How do I deal with older stock? Well, I actually did walk down the first row. It was just more so that, down this one here, it was more so that I was cutting in between of the walking so that you guys didn't have to sit around watching a blank screen of just looking at my stock. But I see your point, because row number 1 goes from SKU 1900 all the way up to, I think it's like 12,800, and then row 2 goes all the way up to, well, all the way up to nearly 15,000. And of course that's not that many items because we've sold a lot of those as well. But I guess the real question is, how do you deal with older stock that's just sitting? Do you do promotions on certain SKU numbers? Just curious as how the promotions work, and is, say, end of financial year the best time to have a sale? So there's a number of things that I do. So usually as stock sits longer and longer, my first thing is anything is open for best offer anyway. So if someone makes a best offer and I'm hitting my margins on it and it's quick sell through and all that, I'm taking it. So that's our first thing. And then over a period of time, we do start to do a price drop. Wow, you can hear the rain coming through now. We do a price drop, and that's usually over, because usually in the first 1 week, 20% of the items we list sell. So usually by 6 weeks in, that's when we start to lower the pricing, and then lower the pricing and lower the pricing as we progress from 6 weeks to 9 weeks and beyond. But one thing which we also do is, like, every month I run a selected amount of SKUs, as you mentioned, anywhere between 30 to 50% off, just to get that cash flow happening, especially if it's on deals that we've already made all our money back on and the rest of it's really just cash flow. So yeah, we do that on a regular basis, monthly. We send out coupons, we send out offers, we send out, you know, markdown sales. We also have the opportunity for people to, if you buy 2 items, you get a discount. If you buy 3 items, you get a discount. 5 items, you get a discount. And if you buy 10 items, you get a bigger discount. So again, with combined postage, that helps bring in more customers and sales. Yeah, but if someone comes along and wants to do a good deal and we can make money from it, then sure, that's what we'll do. All right, I'm gonna pick out some items. It's probably really, really loud because of the rain. It's really loud for me, so I do apologize. So I'll show you some of the stuff we've got going out. All right, first thing that we've got going out is this Ralph Lauren, this is a wool Nordic sweater actually, like hand knit jumper. That thing's gone for like $81.20, so very happy with that. Let's see what else we've got going out. We've got a couple of shirts, so I'm gonna bring them over and I'll show you what we've got. Just a nice little vintage button up. A women's Nike sweater. That's just gone for 26 bucks. We've got some Patagonia flannel going out. There we go. We got another one of those CPUs that we got from last week going out. Like this. This one's gone for $54.20. This one we listed this morning. This is a Ralph Lauren women's size 4. This thing has only gone for actually $21, but it's defected, so we'll just take whatever we get for it. Next up is some Harley Davidson. There we go. Then we've got we've got a Zara blazer going out. That is hanging, I think, over here. This one went for $71. It was an all linen piece. Then we've got another Ralph, just a button-up shirt. Then we've got some jeans, 5699. That's the SKUs. Just some Levi's, and then the last thing is a sweater, 14192. And that's a Calvin Klein merino wool, and that's all we've got for the moment. So get all these packed up. We're still pending on 15 payments, which is ridiculous. All right, folks, so postage is all done. I made up a couple extra washing bags, so now we have a total of 12 going out tomorrow. So that will be probably the last one. There is a potential that they may pick up more on Monday when they drop off for the photographer, but we're gonna work out if that makes sense. That's all ready to go now. Just to give you guys a bit of an understanding of like how much we've actually processed. And I was talking about this last week, how it's actually a bit deceiving. So over here is looking pretty thin. So this is all ready, that's all ready. This still has to be sorted. So does this, which I just took some of them out just now. That's ready to be photoed as well. So we're actually pretty good in terms of moving out of that stock. And then we've also got obviously all the stuff that's in the other one, which is in here. So in here, we've still got a lot of puffers and spray jackets. We've got a lot of tees. We've still got a few bit of sweaters to go through, spray jackets, big jackets and spray jackets. Then we've got all of the overalls, and then we've got some jeans in there and some shorts as well. And then we've got a bit of knit sweaters as well. So we're getting through this pretty good. I think we will be through all of this by, I'm away in May, so we've probably done about, actually I can probably tell you how much we've already done. In terms of processing, I can actually check that up on the screen. So in terms of how much we've actually got listed versus, processed, there was a total in this lot, out of the big lot that's just behind you. Why is this not loading? This is one thing that, this is the fun part of just planning a flow and how much stock we need coming in. So out of this lot, there was 1,481 pieces, I believe it was. Already listed 379 pieces. Now, in play, we're probably sitting at about 500, 550, because there's already stuff at washing. and there's stuff sitting out there. So it's actually probably, yeah, 550, probably even 600. So we're probably about 600 in. So still in here, geez, there's still about 800 pieces, which, you know, some of the tees I'm going to try and wholesale. There's, if someone's interested, the overalls I'm probably going to wholesale and just move them quickly as well. And then the rest I just got to go through and see what makes sense to get done as quickly as possible before end of financial year and winter. So, you know, we're making good progress in that, and we've actually sold. We've made 15% of our money back, and we've sold 105 pieces out of the total amount. So we're making progress. We've got about 379 actually listed. So yeah, we've got a bit to go there, but there's a great opportunity. We still have all of that other lot of that mixed clothing, which we still have a bit to go on that one as well. But that one we're at 72% done, so not too bad there. So I think in terms of stock, what we've got to go, as I said, we've got about 1,300, sorry, not 1,300, we've got about 800 there, we've got about 300 there, and then all the jeans are going out. That's 120, 300, 800, yeah, so we've got about 1,000, we've got about 1,500 pieces, I reckon, which are ready to be listed, unlisted, kind of thing like that we're going to process. So with that in mind, that gets us till, oh, and then all the stuff that's actually out there. So yeah, it's probably about 1,500. So we're probably looking that I really probably don't need to get anything till the end of June, which is what I'm kind of talking to with my, currently with my suppliers, whether I pick it up in June or if it's going to be a pick up in July kind of situation. We're going to be getting, yeah, a few different bits and bobs just to restock and, yeah, get back into the groove into the new financial year. And hopefully we'll have some more stuff by then too. So, all right, team, I actually quickly just stepped out to pick up something at the post office. They closed at 12 and I quickly got to grab it. Just more stuff coming in for what needs to, just supplies that need to be there for while I'm away. So just making sure everything is, you know, good and done and dusted and ready to go for when I'm not there. And now I'm going to go do a tip run, drop off some excess cardboard, and then a little bit of e-waste, which was from my own personal stuff, not through the consignment deal. So I'm going to go do that, and then going to go grab some lunch, and then it'll be happy days. We're going to continue on and focus really just doing focus on really just doing photos for the rest of the day will be the main priority. There has been a few more sales that have come through. I might do another second post at the end of the day before I leave, and I've reached out to my customer that buys all my iPhones and stuff, and I said to them, hey, do you want to buy another bunch before I leave? And they said, yep, can we do it after 3 o'clock? So I'll probably do that too at 3 o'clock, and yeah, focus on, they'll probably spend $300, $400 maybe. I'm actually trying to just get as much cash flow happening before I go away, just because I know that sales will probably dip a little bit in the next 10 days, and I really kind of want to be just on top of that. We are ahead at the moment. We're averaging about $1,100 a day for May, but I'm thinking that's probably going to drop down. However, I've got all those computer parts that I photoed yesterday. We're going to list all those today, tomorrow as well. So hopefully those will come through and get some quick dollars too. So just really the thing that I've been talking about for the last few weeks is really that speed to market, and get it up, get it sold, get the cash flow happening, especially the stuff that doesn't owe us much. The clothing is more of that bread and butter. When I say bread and butter, it's a bit of a loose cliche term, right? But what I really mean is that stuff's a machine. We're going to be processing that anyway. Some of that stuff doesn't have the quick sell through, but it's going to sell anyway. And that just keeps everything turning over. This other stuff is the stuff that now it's basically the icing on the cake. And as we unlock more categories and more opportunities in this space, I'm expecting to see No, I mean, sure, I'd love to. I think Old Man was talking about it in a comment yesterday. He said, you know, he can really see this taking off, and that is the plan. Whether it will replace the clothing, that's not really the intention. It might replace the clothing in terms of value, but I'm not planning to replace the clothing. That's a category I want to continue to thrive in. And then with the electronics section, there's a whole bunch of things that I really want to work on getting better at, and long term become probably even a refurbished seller. That would be ideal, but that's going to take a little bit of time. So early days, baby steps, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm actually super excited. So many things are just there's so many good things happening, and you know, I don't want to say that to jinx it, touch wood, but the reality is like, been working hard for all these things, and now I get to go away to Singapore, spend time with Carla and her family, and I'm looking forward to that as well, because it's going to actually be, we're flying business class, we're staying in some nice hotels. Like it's going to be really good a couple of weeks, and just to enjoy ourselves, and you know, just spend that quality time. And I think that's really important, and I'm very grateful that the business enables those opportunities. Like a lot of all this has been compensated really, really well because of, you know, my expenses that I pay with my Amex. A lot of that has been credited through points. So we've gotten some really great deals, doesn't really touch the hip pocket, and you know, they're kind of like extra byproducts and, you know, benefits that you have when running a business, even with your own personal credit card and things like that. This is not a spiel to say get a credit card, do that at your own fun, you know, get advice from a proper financial advisor. This is not financial advice, but you know, that's been something that's been really rewarding for the whole team. When I say the whole team, I mean me and Carla. Sorry, it's been very rewarding for me and Carla, and yeah, very, very grateful for that. The business has been able to do that opportunity. So yeah, it's exciting times, lots happening, and you know, we're going to come back, and then it's the end of the financial year, and you know, I've got to do a little bit of admin on that kind of stuff. Just been doing some of that today, actually, just make sure stock positions are in a position that I want them to be. For those that don't know, I operate with an average cost of good model, and that, again, speak to your accountant on what's best for you. And so just working if it makes sense to do a little bit of, you know, do I liquidate a bit more stock, or do I write off stock, or whatever, to get it down to a nice sweet position for when we start the new financial year, that we're in a nice position. So that's what's on my mind. I'm gonna go drop this stuff off the tip, and then go grab some lunch, and then we're back in the warehouse. All right, team, I am back, had some lunch. Next order of action is I've got to actually just, these market racks, I've got to switch them out. I've got to make sure that one empty spare for while I'm away, just for photographers to be able to put up, because we've got a lot of those puffers coming through. So we've got, that one's absolutely chockers now. We've still got one more here. We actually do have this one here, but it's not on wheels, so probably going to switch it out with that one. And then the other thing after that is going to start to work my way through this, and yeah, just work my way through it. One thing that I think I had told you folks is, while I'm away, we won't be posting, but we will be still having the items come out. So I'll have my photographer pick out the items, put them in the boxes on the day, or in order once they're full. So that way when I come back, I don't have to pick. I can just literally get straight into packing and processing. And yeah, I think other than that, the only other thing will be, we're discussing with the washing lady if we send out another thing on Monday, so I'll confirm that tomorrow. I think other than that, that's probably the only stuff that's left to do before I disappear. So we're actually ahead, which is good, because tomorrow I can just really spend the majority of my time doing photos of anything left, and obviously I'll post anything that remains. But the other thing that I need to take into account is I can no longer send offers now, because it's 48 hours till my time away goes on. And obviously I don't want people to accept my offer before, like in the period of time in which my time away was not triggered yet. So yeah, that's now, which is 48 hours. So no more offers, but we can accept offers, but we just can't send offers. Yeah, anyway, gets a bit complex, but all the details are in the policy of time away. So all right, let's sort out this rack and then get into this. All right, team, it is time to do photos. Been procrastinating getting these done. Now I've got no more excuses, so we're going to do it. Alright, let's do it. Actually, this was pretty cool. This was a Windows 98 upgrade sealed. Might be worth it to someone. Might be worth it. We've got some multi-quantity listings. We've got some more multi-quantity listings. Really just going to make my way through the quick wins and then get to the other stuff like all the way down there. So let's do it. Oh, we've got some coconut water. Okie dokie team. I am now doing some listings. I have finished a couple more AirPods. Actually, we had 3 pairs. Just finished testing them all. One is like brand new. 2 of them are damaged, and my usual Apple customer has just reached out saying, can I start to do the uploads? So I'm going to do that right now and just send through all the listings that I've got ready to go, and then we will be able to get those sales straight away. So I'm going to spend some time do that now and see what we can do. I'll take you through the process in a second. I'm just uploading some photos. Give me a second. All right, so I'm doing this live right now. I'm basically just listing one by one, and then I send them the link. We actually list them a bit higher because it's just to stop, other people sniping them. Listed it right now, so this is number 1, and then I've just sent them the message, and then they will send through. So we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4 lots. Obviously, I'm not going to show it because I don't want to show my, my account. 4 lots, and then 3 AirPods, so it's a total of 7. Let's see how we go. All right, so we have now done all that. It took probably about 20 minutes, really, just because we were back and forth and I had to create some of the listings. But they have spent actually $736. Well, actually it's $719. I've got to modify the postage now, so it's probably actually about $740, just like that. And that's in 24 hours. So we got all these yesterday, we processed them, listed them, $740, and we haven't even, that's not even everything in there yet. So very grateful for this, and we still have all of the CPUs and all that we'll still do, which that should bring in probably another $700. So very happy with this. All right, team, it's 4 o'clock, so I'm going to pack all this up now. They've bought 3 AirPods. They've got iPhones, Samsung, and a mixed bunch, a MacBook, and a whole bunch of iPads. $750. All right, folks, that is a wrap. It is now 4:30, and I am getting out of here. I'm going to go drop off the post on the way home. Pretty good day. Really happy with this. Tomorrow is another big day, and then Friday, well, kind of just a half day. Ciao. And just like that, it was Thursday. A bit croaky this morning, which is making me nervous. I always tend to get a little bit like this before I travel. I have a bit of a bad rep for traveling. Not usually while traveling, but before traveling, and then when arriving, and then when coming back. I always tend to I get a little bit, it's probably anxiety. And for those that don't know, it was about 2 years ago when I went to the Philippines for 6 weeks. I had a bit of a anxiety attack, and I had heart issues, and it was just stress. And I think what I'm experiencing at the moment is a little bit of that kind of like muscle memory. The body just kind of goes into freak out mode because, anyway, it's a bit weird. So I'm fine, but it just always plays with your head, this kind of stuff. And so I'm gonna have a nice hot cup of tea and clear everything up. I'm a bit chesty. It's a bit annoying. So anyway, Thursday today. It is 8:26. Just got in, just taking it slow. Just don't want to be stressed. Just cruising. We don't really have anything super important to do. All of this is getting picked up, of course. I do have my mate coming and picking up. Well, he's not picking up. He's going to have a look through all these. He's my laptop guy. He's going to go through, see if he needs anything, and I've also got one more here for him. I've got a pick, pack, and post. Sales have actually been really good. We ended up doing about 2,150 yesterday, all on eBay, which is great. And I've got the washing coming back, and then it's just really just a pick, pack, and post, and then the rest of the day we'll just be doing photos. And
I'm probably going to leave early today. I've still got to pack, so I just don't want to be stressed. I just want to be taking it slow. So I'll get things done here. If there's nothing else that I need to do urgently here, I'm just going to go. I'm going to be back here tomorrow morning anyway. As you can see, we're pretty slim here now. We're getting through all of this very, very quickly, which is great. So also some exciting news. Looks like I'm moving ahead with bringing someone else on board, likely in July. Just in the early days conversation, got to write up contracts and letters of offers and things like that, but keeping you guys in the loop that we are working on that, but it's still a few months away. I do actually need to go through some of these button shirts. Did have someone reach out, which I'm going to reach out to them and see if they're keen on this stuff. It's just low-end button shirts, really. I mean, they're not bad, they do sell. It's just, as I said, I'm just clearing out some old stock that we never got to listing. Rather than go through the process of individual, I figured, just to get some of that cash flow for the end of the financial year with tax and all the different expenses that I've got. I've still actually got to pay for this for the first, I haven't paid for it yet for the first 3 months. They actually, funny story, I hadn't got an invoice or anything, so I reached out to them and they said, no, you should be paying monthly. And I said, haven't received anything, here's all my details. And it says, no, it looks like it's right. So my account manager's following up with the accounting team to understand what's going on, because I would love to pay, but haven't been able to. So I know that bill's coming, which will be probably $1,200. So, just lots of expenses, there's always more. So yeah, that's what we're going to get into. I've got, laptop guys coming at 9 o'clock, and then I've got probably washings, somewhere between 9 and 9:30. Do have a couple of questions I'm going to answer, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to have a cup of tea and get settled in. Good stuff. All right, so got a couple of questions that I'm going to answer as well, just while I'm just calming myself down. Heart rate's been up as well. It's just, anyway, it is what it is. Also, this will be the last day of the video for this week. Even though I'll be here tomorrow, I'm just going to come in, get what I got to get done, and then I'll get out of here because we'll be leaving for the airport. So, I'll be wrapping this up today, and then I've got to go home, edit all this as well. So lots of bits and bobs before I'm going, but you know me. All right, so there was a question that came through, 2 questions actually. Where is it? It was a question that came in underneath one of my, there's 2 questions. Let me just find it. All right, the first question came from Zendomia. I hope I've said your name right. I sell clothing in the process of adding games and tech, etc. Do you sell in one store only? Thinking of opening a separate store. Does it have pros and cons though? All right, so for me personally, I've built my store from day one knowing that it was never intended to just be, we're not known to be the #1 seller of clothing. It was never going to be that. It was purely on the basis of meeting needs of different types of people, and I've built the store and the business around that. However, if let's say you currently are a clothing seller and you have named your store, t-shirts galore, and that's what you're selling and that's what people know you as. If you're going to start adding tech and games, look, I don't think it's a big issue because you're just moving some stock. But if you wanted to build consistency and a brand around that and people to know to come back to you, you may want to separate it out. It really comes down to how you want to build that business and brand. I know someone who has 4 or 5, actually he might have 6 stores now. John, do you have 6 stores now? Anyway, and he manages different stuff, right? And he has some for toys, some for particular toy niches, some for clothes. It's different for everyone. It does require a little bit more manual work, because you got to manage the stores. I've got a second store for Pokemon, which, is for my Pokemon fund, which is on pause at the moment. So I don't really monitor it, and that's dangerous because you miss out on notifications. So you can't be logged in twice at the same time. So I think you need to understand what is your long-term game? Where do you want to build your business, and how do you want your business to be known? Are you someone selling multiple categories and that's what you're offering to your customer base? Or do you want your stores to be purely known for what they're selling? Otherwise, maybe you're thinking too much into it and just list the items they will sell regardless. but yeah, it purely comes down to what you want and if you're trying to build a branding image around that. Great question though. The second question is just coming from Darren. I appreciate your questions, always do. Hi mate, could you go over briefly your journey over the years regarding buying and the steps you took? In particular, how long did it take you to be able to buy bundles of 700 items at a time? I'm only in my first year and cash flow is killing me. I seem to be working week to week and I hate it. Have a great holiday, mate, and take a real break. Great question. And this one, it's going to be a little controversial because do as I say, not as I do. So, you know, for the journey, you know, when I first started, I was pretty religious when it came to following the Profit First model. And that's a book. You can go grab the book. Really great. Highly recommend it. And that helps you grow based on cash flow. You know, allocating money to certain buckets of money and then only buying when you had the funds to buy it. I stuck to that religiously for a long period of time. As I started to work out on that and realizing, well, all the deals that I'm getting aren't really elevating me. So like, you know, I'm going to op shops, picking out bits and bobs. And yeah, sure, it's great. We're doing $1,000 a week, maybe max. And I realized, well, this isn't going to cut it for what I want and what I want to be able to do for my lifestyle. So that's when I kind of broke the code and I kind of started to branch out and took a little bit more of I had built up some reserves, like, don't get me wrong. And I had the money to buy the first amount. And that's when I purchased, 40 kilos or 45 kilos of Levi's. And then I started to get into wholesale and I started taking a bit more of a risk. Spending anywhere from 1,500 up to 3,000, up to 6,000. I think the biggest deal has been, that I've actually paid for is like 16,000. There's another one that's in the process, which I'm paying off, which worked out to be like 24,000. So, that's probably not the best way to do it. You really want to be growing based on the numbers that you can afford. And that really comes down to when you're going to buy something, understanding how quickly is it going to take to turn this over? How quickly can I get my money back? And am I going to be able to double my money? So one of the issues that I've had as I've continued to, scale quicker, that's my own advantage, using my own capital. Geez, I hope I'm not going to lose my voice. Using my own capital is sometimes the buyback opportunity hasn't been there. So like I might only get back, 1.5 times my money, 2 times my money, which means you can only go out and buy 1.5 or 2 times more items with that money. So you really want to have that as a multiplier of ideally 4 or 3 even. So for instance, if you bought a shirt for $10, you sold it for, let's say $80, and then you've got enough money after fees and postage to go back out and buy 3 more for $30. And then you've now got 3 things working. You can duplicate that. That would be the ideal way to do it. For me, I kind of jumped the gun. I had some capital. I'm like, let's just go cold turkey. And this is how we ended up here as quick as I did. That's different for everyone. It's definitely not the way I, recommend doing it. You want to grow slow, but growing slow looks different for everyone. Big businesses, they use capital injection to be able to, I guess, streamline or speed up the ability to be able to do these things. So basically, I've bought myself a business in that sense. By spending more, it's enabling me to get to here quicker, but now I have to really monitor it, be really careful that we don't bite off more than we can chew, because I have, obviously liabilities, and, I've got a contract of rental agreement for this place and things like that. So look, mate, to be honest, you just gotta, it comes down to your better buys, knowing that, is this gonna hit my metrics if I sell this tomorrow? Well, one, how long is it gonna take me to sell this item? And secondly, if I sell that item based on what I think it will get, how much money will I have back from it to be able to go buy more? So sometimes it comes down to, you need to be sourcing better, you need to be stronger with your metrics and in terms of what you're buying, and making sure that you understand that you're not probably going to get the top dollar for everything that you want. So I would even recommend, if you look at something on eBay and it's worth like, let's say it's worth $50, I would say you're probably going to sell it for 40. The reason why I say that is because it's getting competitive and people are looking for a bargain. And you got to think about, well, will I get all my money for, all your money back and meet your metrics if you're getting 20% less, right? And you got to be comfortable with that, because cash flow is king. And if you can liquidate stuff, that's why I talk about it here. I'm selling other stuff here and there to keep things moving. And I'd rather take a bit of the money
a lot of the time, rather than, you know, trying to wait 90 days to get top dollar, which doesn't mean I can leverage it, right? So like all the electronics, we're selling it underpriced, but I've got a single buyer and they just move, we just move it quickly, right? $750 yesterday, boom. And that really makes a huge difference in being able to grow quicker. So that would be my recommendation around it is don't overbuy, build up some reserves. When you've got like, you know, a certain amount of money in your kitty, then you can make that investment purchase, right? I know it's not easy, and that's the bit of the trap. So it's either hunting for better items, sourcing better items, getting better relationships, and yeah, that's probably really the only way to do it. Sorry, and thank you. Good luck. I also finished listing all of the Skylanders this morning and all those computer parts. So we'll see how long it takes to sell the computer parts. I've already sold one lot of Skylanders. We got $114 for a bundle of 25. So that was quick dollars. And good news is we're back on $91,159. And we've got 17 orders to go out. We're actually on track to do our best month ever, but we'll see what happens when I put the store and time away. At the moment, we're averaging about $1,460 a day. And if I was to be able to keep this up for the rest of the month, we would actually do about $45,000, which, you know, that would be nice, but we'll see, we'll see. I think we'll have a bit of a drop. We'll probably drop about 50% in terms of sales. We're averaging about 26 at the moment. So it'll probably drop down to about 10, I think. Give or take, some days will be more or less. So that's why today the focus is get as much photos done as possible, make sure the photographer has all their stuff that they need to be able to do while I'm away, and I'll just keep listing. Well, obviously my lister will keep listing and I'll just send them live. So that's the plan. All right, geez, this croakiness is not what I'm excited about. Just trying to ease it off. All right, let's get cracking. All right, just went through all of these items, made up a big wholesale lot for an individual who's interested. There's 110 items. This is going cheap as chips. I'll let you know if it sells. If it doesn't sell, well then it will be back up for grabs. But this is essentially like Tommy, CK, Michael Kors. There's a little bit of Ralph in there, Nautica, some Wrangler, maybe some Levi's. A lot of cream and white dress shirts. And then there's obviously pattern mix as well. Some of it is actually, probably a lot of it's B grade. But hey, everyone has their different styles and it's cheap. Cheap as chips, mate. Anyway, my computer guy's rocking up, so. All right, folks, washing is all back. We did that drop off. It's actually now 10:30. Been chatting with, who's now a good mate, the laptop guy. We've been chit-chatting for the last, good hour. Appreciate you, mate. He did buy a whole bunch, spent 80 bucks. Not much, but you know, it all just tallies up, so happy with that. All right, I've got to unpack the washing as well. I did start doing a pick. I'll continue doing that as well. Haven't heard back about this, but really I've got to make sure everything's cleaned up. We will be sending out another washing on Monday, so my photographer will do that handover and then they'll bring it back the week I get back. So I've got to finish making 10 bags as well. So I've already got some made. We'll finish those off today. And then that's probably all I'm going to do today. I might do a couple of the photos there as well, but really just, we'll see how long that takes, but I don't want to overdo it because I just want to be nice and calm and rested and good to go. And I still got to pack, so yeah. All right, let's get cracking. And we turned that into this, and this one. So not too bad. I'm actually loving this because we're getting through it really quick, and really grateful for my team for that. We're not sending heaps. So the 90 kilos of Levi's and then 3 or 4 more bags of puffer jackets, that cost me $500 to wash. That's what went out today. That will come back next week. So my photographer's got photographers have got lots of opportunity that they can proceed forward with, and they can do it at their own heart's content, whether they pick and choose if they want to do jackets, fleece, sweaters, puffers, you name it. All right, that's done. Next thing, line of action is probably start doing the pick, pack and post. I've already picked all the items, start packing the items. I do need to nick out for a pickup quickly after that, and then yeah, then we'll probably, like I said, not really going to do too much, but we'll finish up with some of the quick wins here and not overdo it, because just, yeah, I think it's best that I just don't overdo it. But there's a few things that I want to make sure I'm ready to go for tomorrow. I still got to set up, I think I spoke to you guys about it at the start of the week, which is I'm going to be setting up boxes here for them to put in basically the, they're going to pick, and I've got to set up the iPad for that as well. Actually, I've got to do that over there. So there's a few little nitpicky things I've got to get done. Yeah. All right, let's do it. All right, so this is what we've got going out. We've got some Skylanders, we've got this little fish buckle, this is cool. And then just lots of clothes, a couple of multi-quantity orders in there. And that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna get this packed up and move on to the next thing. All right, team, I'm almost done. I'm gonna basically now make up the washing bags. And I don't think I'm really gonna do anything else. Really don't wanna, I'm basically switched off. So I'll do the washing. I will be back here in the morning and I'll do a final post run before I leave, but my store goes in time away tomorrow, so it's really actually just in case any more sales come through this afternoon, which there's probably about 15 orders pending payment. So I'll do that tomorrow morning, and then we'll do handover with my photographer and I'll take them through all the processes and things. So I'm just going to do some washing bags now, and then that's probably a wrap. I've got to go home, do some admin, pack, all those different things, and yeah, and then I'm going to start editing this video. So I'll finish up doing the packaging. I mean what am I saying? I'll finish up doing the washing bags now, and then I'll be out of here, and then we'll do a bit of a recap, and that's that. So let's see what bags we can make up, hey? All right, team. So we've done the washing bags, and we've got 10 bags made, all done and dusted. So there we go, that's what we've got. Some more puffers, a few mix and match of different stuff in there. So that will all go out Monday. I'll make sure that all the notes and everything are taken care of. But that's it. I'm wrapping it up. I'm really just not feeling the best. So I just really want to make sure I'm totally refreshed, and it's only 1:30. There's no point kind of just lingering out for the sake of lingering around. We didn't really get to any more photos, but that's fine. I've got plenty of backlog and the team will be working on this anyway. Like I said, I'll be back here in the morning to do the final post, but that's really everything that needs to be, you know, urgent attention. So we've set up the boxes. I'll do the handover about 1 o'clock tomorrow, and then we will be all done. Happy days. So I'm going to get out of here. I'll give you guys a bit of a recap on the way home, where my head's at, where things are. I'm quickly just going to look at the financials before I go, so I've got it in my head, so I can chat to you guys, and then I'll take you through, yeah, the week and my thinking and all that jazz, and yeah, that's it. All right, I'm going to get out of here and I'll give you the recap. Ciao. All right, folks, that's it. What a week. My headspace is all kind of like, doesn't feel right, you know. It's also, it all just seems a bit weird, but you know, like I keep saying, I am going to be back there tomorrow, and I'll do a final post, but essentially Time Away turns on at midnight tonight, so any sales that come through tomorrow, technically I don't have to send. I probably will send anything that's available to send, but it's really just because I've got some orders that are pending to be paid, and I just don't want to leave them for my photographer to have to do. I just want them to be able to focus on doing photos. But how has the week been? The week, you know, these weeks are going so quick, they're all just a blur. But this week, I'm just super proud of everything we've been able to achieve. You know, with the e-waste stuff, that stuff's really starting to take off. And I know there's been a few questions about the e-waste a little bit, but I think people have been watching some of the older videos when I first took it on, so I'm not going to go into detail about the e-waste right now, of course, but you know, that's been a super important component to the business over the last 90 days essentially, and really paying off. And I'm just super excited every time I get more of it, but I'm also just grateful for it and excited to see what we can keep doing with it. But you know, that aside, it doesn't change the whole I guess, focus on clothing. Like, we're not slowing down on clothing, we're not changing, we're not replacing. That's going to continue to grow as well. And this week's there's been lots of wins. There's lots of, you know, tick of boxes. We're seeing great progress, and there's some exciting things coming, as I alluded to earlier, that I've been in chats with someone about, you know, coming on board from the new financial year. Obviously nothing's signed and sealed until signed and sealed, but you know, that discussion has been under play, and it looks like that will happen, which, you know, it gives me a bit of time to plan a bit more into. I wasn't able to work on the full-time thing just yet because I'm just not comfortable with doing that yet, and I wanted to ease into it. So more details on that when that comes to life, but other than that, you know, it was great to be able to just get everything done this week, being able to prioritize. I feel like we did take massive action, had a lot of fun as well, but you know, at the same time, like right now, like I just don't feel myself, and that's probably just because probably am feeling a little bit anxious. Probably my body's probably just a little bit, well, you know, rah of, you know, okay, I'm going away, is everything okay, and just all those kind of things. And was literally just standing there, not really being productive, thinking about all the things that trying to think that I haven't thought of, which is just not helping anyone. So I'm better off actually I've done all the things that are non-negotiables, has to be done before I go, and now it's just, I'm gonna go home. I've got to go drop off the post, and I've got to go do some last minute shopping and stuff, but just go home, get all that done, and don't have to think about it, right? Everything's going to be fine. It always is. It's just, you know, tomorrow is the last resort of handover, but you know, all in all, I'm just super happy. So really my big lesson for this week is like, you got to come prepared, right? You know, as you take on more things, you got to come prepared, and a way that I can really kind of like put this into perspective is, I'm just still kind of like playing in my head of like what we've been able to achieve with processing all that e-waste this week, and what we're capable of doing just by myself. You know, without a process, we're kind of making it up as we go and getting it better and better, and that continuous improvement. That to me is just so exciting, because it's the tip of the iceberg of what we can do. And when I say we, I'm actually speaking to you as well. Nothing to do with e-waste, of course. I'm more talking about when we actually put ourselves in the position to grow and we're willing to do it, you can do some really, really amazing things. And you know, you should look to try and do that as much as possible, because as you do that, you get really great rewards from it, right? You get some exciting opportunities. You can say yes to things. You can take a chance, right? And be mindful though that not everything's going to work out the way you want it to, but that's part of the journey. So I'm excited to be able to continue to share this journey with the hope that it's going to inspire and motivate others to, you know, think outside the box, look at new ways of how you can add value to your business, or look at new ways of what you can do that maybe you haven't thought of. And even this week, we've learned so much of just new opportunities, selling some great new things, and to me that just means the world to me. But not forgetting that, you know, all this new stuff that I'm doing, if you are taking on new things, adding new categories, or doing all this new stuff, you've got to make sure you're doing the basic hygienes of the core of your business. If the core of your business is operating smooth and it's working well, aka in this case the clothing for me, it's really, really good, right? It means that everything else I can forget about that and focus on all this new stuff and don't have to worry about it. I do apologize if I feel a bit jumbled. I do feel a bit out of it. So yeah, that's really everything that I'm super proud of, excited of, and yeah, super grateful of all of it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the time away. It's not very long, but I'm expecting sales will probably drop down a little bit, which we're going to talk about sales now. I also forgot to add in this week's winner. So here's this week's winner. Please reach out to me. You can send me an Instagram message or go into my email in my about. Otherwise, jump over to my About Me section in YouTube and you can send an email. Jump on over there, send me an email and prove that you are the winner. All right, ciao. So this week, right now, I mean, today's Thursday. It feels like Friday, but it's only Thursday. We're currently sitting on about $8,500, and I've just had a whole bunch of more sales come through. So we're probably sitting on close to 8,800. right now, if we were to continue what we're doing about $1,400, $1,500 a day, we would probably land at about $11,000, $12,000 by the end of the week. Look, if we get that, I'm going to be even more grateful. But I think reality is we're probably going to land at about 10,000 for the week. I've really pushed the first half of this week to try and get all that wholesale, all these big deals, and transactions happening as quickly as possible, because I want to front load this month, because I'm going to be tools down for a bit. So that's really rewarding. I think sales would drop off a little bit, but to mitigate that, I'm going to be running some sales and hopefully ramp up this, the additional sales in that capacity while I'm away. So fingers crossed. And yeah, so the financials going pretty good. May's going pretty good. Still have plenty of expenses, so it's too early to kind of see where the month's going to land. But I think, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I'm not too concerned by it at this point. Anyway, we'll check in, obviously when I get back from Singapore. If you've made it this far, I do appreciate you. There's no code word this week. The reason why is because I might not be, attention to my socials as much, and I just don't want to be focusing on people's comments and people trying to do code words and things like that. So we'll resume that once I'm back. I appreciate everyone that participates in that, but I will prompt you with something. I will prompt you, right? As we get so closer to the new FY, end of financial year here for Australia, we end in June. What are the things that you're trying to finalize? What's the last minute things you're basically doing it for the final stretch of the financial year? And with that in mind, with everything that you've achieved this financial year, what are you going to be working on in the new financial year? Specifically Q1, which will be from July, August, September. I want to know in the comments. I would love to hear some of those thoughts and have a conversation about it. I think it's interesting hearing from other people of what they're working on, what they're trying to achieve. And I know I'm probably asking questions which is probably more specific to people that are not doing this part-time, but I think it's important, if you're a part-time seller, start to think that think like a full-time seller, but don't necessarily have to work as a full-time seller. And what I mean by that is, sometimes being a part-time seller or side hustler, or you're just doing this as a little bit of extra cash or whatever, we sometimes box ourselves, right? And I want to encourage you, just do not box yourself, so you can create some really great opportunities for yourself and your business. And sometimes it's just about thinking about things a little bit differently. I'm not saying go do extra work or anything like that, but that's why I'm challenging you. What do you want to achieve as you finish out the end of this financial year, and then what do you want to really ramp up into the new financial year as well? Let me know in the comments. That would mean the absolute world to me. If you did have any questions, drop them down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it, folks. I mean, after this video, I will be dropping another episode of Get Wired. I'll still have my podcast while I'm away, and you'll probably just miss out on one weekly vlog. But then we'll be back soon enough doing it all again. So appreciate you all, and yeah, I will miss you guys. Anyway, ciao.